T show me this, ain't honest. Welcome to the podcast, PT service in your pad. Mending aches, breaking pain, yo, it ain't half bad. In-house therapy, skip the clinic lines. Healing hands coming quick, no more wasting time. PT jams, moving feet, moving limbs. Get your back in motion, tone and trim. Tune in, tune up, feel that it'll win. Physical therapy, where the heal begins. Had a little sprain, we got the game plan. Customized sessions, taking a firm stand. From rehab to strength, to stretch and flex. No need to travel far, we come correct. PT jams, moving feet, moving limbs. Get your back in motion, tone and trim. Tune in, tune up, feel that it'll win. Physical therapy, where the heal begins. Every ache, every strain, we resolve the pain. Home service flexing, make you feel brand new again. Podcast popping, spread the good vibes. Physical care, delivered straight to you, no jive.
Hey there, and welcome to a deep dive on inflammation. You know, I always thought inflammation was just like when you twist your ankle and it swells up. I never realized how complex it is, or that like it's connected to all these chronic diseases. So get ready to explore inflammation, what it is, why it happens, and what it means for your health.
Yeah, and what's so amazing is that inflammation can be good or bad, you know? It's your body trying to protect itself.
Like what did you call it before? Like
a biological SOS signal.
Right.
But when that alarm, gets stuck on, it can actually cause more problems.
So let's start with that biological SOS signal. Our main source, Inflammation from Beginner to Expert, says it's the body's natural defense. Like when you get an injury or an infection.
It's like, imagine you get a splinter. Seems small, but your body, it kicks into gear. It sends these white blood cells, like they're the first responders, right? They clean up, fight off bacteria, and then start the repairs.
That's when we see like the redness, the swelling, it gets hot, painful, right? Like your body's saying, nobody move.
Exactly. 5 cardinal signs. All those things you mentioned, they're because of changes happening right there at the injury. More blood flow, that's the redness, the heat, fluid builds up, you get that swelling.
Okay, that makes sense. But what I find really interesting, and our source talks about this, is how different acute inflammation is from chronic.
Think of it this way. Acute is a sprint. It's like your body's immediate short-term response. Chronic inflammation, it's a marathon. And it's a marathon you didn't sign up for, could have some bad consequences.
And what's surprising is how much this chronic low-grade inflammation, like people don't even realize it's there, but stress, bad diet, not enough sleep, even pollution, that can all keep it going. It's not just injuries anymore.
And this is where it gets interesting, because if our immune system is driving this, how does this whole system actually work?
Yeah, so we need to meet the team, right?
Yep.
White blood cells, cytokines, and chemokines. Those were always kind of scary words for me.
It's easier if you picture them like white blood cells. Think of them as your body's soldiers. They're always on patrol.
So they're the ones that are first on the scene if there's an injury.
Exactly. And they got to communicate, right? That's where cytokines come in. Those are the signals. They get everyone organized, tell the white blood cells where to go, what to do.
So if cytokines are like the calls to action, then chemokines, they must be.
Think GPS coordinates. They guide those white blood cells to exactly the right spot. They're like, the problem's over here, coordinates, whatever, go, go, go.
It's like this whole choreographed dance happening on a tiny scale anytime we get a paper cut. No wonder we feel a bit rough when our immune system's working overtime. But with chronic inflammation, that system, it kind of backfires, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like the fire alarm won't shut off. Instead of a quick warning, you have this low-level inflammation that just keeps going, and over time, that's what causes damage, can even lead to chronic illnesses.
And our source mentions some serious ones: heart disease, diabetes, even cancer. That's kind of scary.
It is, which is why we need to understand it, right? This isn't just one spot in your body. Chronic inflammation, it affects everything.
So how does that actually happen? How does inflammation lead to things like heart disease?
Well, take heart disease, for example. We know that plaque building up in arteries, what they call atherosclerosis, that's a big risk factor for heart attacks, right?
Right.
Well, what researchers are finding is that inflammation actually changes how cholesterol builds up in the arteries. It's like tiny injuries keep happening, they attract more inflammation, and boom, you've got plaque forming.
Wow, I had no idea. So chronic inflammation is like the thing behind the scenes adding to heart disease.
It's like, it's the root of the problem, you could say. And it's not just heart disease. Chronic inflammation, they're finding It's connected to type 2 diabetes too.
I'd heard that before, but the link, it always seemed kind of, I don't know, fuzzy to me.
It's pretty wild, actually. They've found that chronic inflammation, especially in fat cells, it can mess with how your body responds to insulin. And when your body can't use insulin right, that's like the pathway to type 2 diabetes.
So we're talking about way more than a sniffle here. It's like this hidden epidemic, right? Leading to some really common, but also really serious diseases.
Exactly. But before we get too bummed out, our source, it also talks about how we can manage, even treat this. And there's good news here. It's not like we're just stuck.
Okay, that's a relief. So what can we do? Where do we even start?
There are two main paths, you could say. One, you got the medications, the pharmaceuticals, and two, lifestyle stuff.
Let's do the medications first. Our source, inflammation. What was it again?
Inflammation from beginner to expert.
Right, that's the one. It talks about all these different types of meds.
Yeah, and it runs the gamut. You got your basic over-the-counter pain relievers like NSAIDs. They can bring down the pain, the swelling, in a pinch. Then there's stronger things, corticosteroids. They work by calming your immune system down.
And then there's the biologics. Those are newer, right? What are they all about?
Biologics, those are pretty cool. They zero in on very specific molecules in your immune system, the ones that are causing all the trouble. So instead of shutting down your whole immune system, they disrupt the specific things causing inflammation.
So it's a more targeted approach.
Exactly. And because of that, they're often used for people with autoimmune diseases, things like rheumatoid arthritis or Crohn's disease, where your body's basically attacking itself,
So there isn't one magic pill.
Yeah.
What you take, it's got to be right for you, for the kind of information you've got.
Totally. But as helpful as meds can be, they're only one piece of the puzzle. Our source makes a big deal about lifestyle changes too. And this is the empowering part. This is stuff we can control.
You're talking diet, exercise, learning to deal with stress, that kind of thing.
You got it. What we eat, how much we move, even how stressed we are, that all plays into it.
All right, let's break it down then. Diet first. What kind of changes actually make a difference?
Well, study after study shows. Load up on fruits, veggies, whole grains, good fats. Like olive oil, fatty fish, that kind of stuff seems to fight inflammation.
Yeah, eat your vegetables. We've all heard it a million times. But it's interesting to see how it all ties back to this. It's not just vitamins. It's actively calming down the inflammation with what we choose to eat.
Right. And then there's the flip side, the stuff that makes inflammation worse.
Okay, hit me with it. What the bad boys?
Sugary drinks, that's a big one. Processed food, anything loaded with saturated or trans fats. Basically all the stuff we know isn't doing us any favors, right? What happens is this food, it messes with the bacteria in your gut, which, believe it or not, has this ripple effect, increases inflammation all over.
Whoa, I never knew gut health and inflammation were so connected.
It's a whole new frontier. They're learning more all the time. But what about exercise? We were talking about that.
Yeah, how does moving our bodies actually help with this? I know exercise is good, but specifically with inflammation, what's the link?
One way is just better circulation, get that blood pumping. It helps flush out the bad stuff, toxins, waste products that can cause inflammation in the first place.
Makes sense.
But it's more than that. Exercise, it actually helps your body get better at controlling the inflammation. Like it's giving your immune system a workout too. It's better at responding when it needs to than calming down after.
So it's like training our defenses to be even more effective.
Exactly. And we can't forget stress. When we're stressed out all the time, that keeps inflammation high. Gotta find ways to chill out.
That's where things like, I don't know, meditation, yoga, that kind of stuff comes in.
Yeah.
For me, when I'm stressed, my body definitely feels it.
Yep. Chronic stress, it's like your body's stuck in fight or flight mode. Inflammation's on high alert 24/7. Meditation, deep breathing, even just being out in nature, that can all help bring it down over time.
And of course, we got to get enough sleep. I know when I'm sleep deprived, I feel it everywhere.
Sleep is huge. While you're out, your body's doing repairs, right?
Yeah.
That includes your immune system getting inflammation under control. If you're not sleeping, that whole system gets messed up, inflammation goes up.
So it's like a two-pronged attack, right? Get the right meds and then work on these lifestyle things. It's a lot more hopeful than just focusing on the bad stuff.
It is. It shows how much we're learning, how many ways we can actually make a difference. It's not about being scared of inflammation, but learning about it, working with our bodies to find the right balance.
It really makes you wonder what the future holds.
Yeah.
What's all this research going to lead to?
Well, the source, It actually talks about some exciting developments. Like there's a ton of research now on this thing called personalized medicine.
Personalized medicine. What does that even mean when we're talking about inflammation?
Yeah.
So when we talk about personalized medicine in the context of inflammation, what exactly does that look like?
So picture this. They can take your genes, right, your own unique blueprint, and use that to figure out, are you at risk for certain inflammatory diseases? Or what's the best way to treat you based on your specific biology? It's like custom-tailored treatment.
So no more one size fits all. We're moving towards something way more targeted, personalized. That's amazing.
It is, and it shows how far we've come. There's even huge breakthroughs happening with immunotherapy now. Scientists are finding these wild new ways to train your own immune system to fight inflammation better.
We're on the edge of something huge here. The way we see inflammation, the way we treat it, everything.
Totally. The more we learn, the better we get at preventing and treating all these diseases that inflammation plays a part in.
This whole deep dive has been incredible. We started with Inflammation 101, and now we're talking cutting edge research, personalized medicine, the whole shebang.
And we're just scratching the surface. There's so much more to discover about this whole process. It's pretty amazing stuff.
It really shows you how much we don't know, but also the potential for new discoveries, new treatments, it's huge.
Huge. That's what makes this whole field so exciting. We're always learning, always updating how we think about inflammation and what it means for us.
So as we wrap this up, what's the one thing you want our listener to walk away with today?
I'd say, remember this. Inflammation, it's a double-edged sword, right? It can heal, it can protect you, but it can also cause a lot of problems when it's chronic or out of control.
It's all about finding that balance, huh? Supporting your body, but not letting inflammation run wild.
Exactly. And the good news is we have a say in that. Every day, the choices we make, they make a difference.
It really comes down to taking care of ourselves, doesn't it? What we eat, staying active, managing stress, all that. It's how we keep inflammation in check and stay healthy for the long haul.
Couldn't have said it better myself. The more you know about inflammation, the better choices you can make for yourself. Knowledge is power.
Well said. And on that note, we'll leave you with this to think about. Imagine if we could create treatments that go right to the source of inflammation, not just mask the symptoms. What could that future look like? It might be closer than we think. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll catch you on our next deep dive.